Cathedrals are some of the most difficult things to build in Minecraft, and you can probably guess why. They're some of the most intricately designed buildings in the world, and today's build is no different. Today we're building one of the most famous cathedrals in the world, the Duomo di Firenze, also known as the Florence Cathedral. It's one of the biggest cathedrals on Earth, and also one of the prettiest. Shout out to my Instagram followers for voting this build into fruition. Now let's go build it. Starting off with the famous, coveted blueprint for the build. This build gave me a little bit of trouble in the blueprint phase just because I screwed up in a few parts and I had to change some things. It took me a while to figure out what I messed up, and I made one side like one block too long or something like that. It wasn't symmetrical by like a block, and that screwed me up a little bit down the line, but I eventually got it figured out. Everything is all dandy and sweet now, so everything is perfect. You can see me getting started on the front part of the facade here of the main cathedral. So yeah, everything got all worked out and is good and happy now, and we're just getting started on the front of the building here. The front is pretty unique compared to the rest of the building in the sense that the rest of the building is pretty uniform and it has the same sort of details kind of repeated over and over, and then especially in the back it's all mirrored more or less. But the front facade here is pretty unique. It has its own design sort of choices here. A bunch of sort of stained glass windows here. You can see that one circular one on the side there, and then obviously it's flipped over to the other side there. And then once we build up a little bit higher, you will see a bigger stained glass window up in the middle center right there. You can see me circling it out right now. Big beautiful stained glass window with a little bit of detail in there. It is a little bit hard to get intricate details on cathedrals like this. I mean, every build, it's hard to get intricate details, but especially when you're building something super detailed like a cathedral at a 1-to-1 scale, because details are really small and they're kind of hard to do in Minecraft at a 1-to-1 scale. At bigger scales are a lot easier to do, but at this scale it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more of a challenge. But I think I did pretty good with filling it up with the correct detail that needed to be put into place. So I'm happy with how it turns out in the end. Here we are on the side of the building. Like I said a few moments ago, it's pretty uniform outside of the front facade. So you can see we're just stacking the same details pretty much over and over as we go down the side here. You can see we got some nice, beautiful windows here. We have a nice door right there. You can see a little itty-bitty door. We have some nice bigger windows right here, and it's all looking fantastic and beautiful and pretty. And there is a lot of green in this build. It's a lot of little lines of green, which at this scale was kind of hard to make little, so the green here is a little bit more pronounced than it is in the actual cathedral. If you're looking at the actual cathedral in real life, you probably will have to look pretty closely to see the green, but because of the scale that I was working at, I kind of had to use a little bit more green than I wanted to, so you can see there is quite a bit of green here, but I'm not super upset about it because it still looks pretty good. I'm still happy with how it turns out, but that is another one of the challenges when it comes to building very intricate builds at a 1-to-1 scale. So yeah, there's that, but I am still happy with how it all turned out. And here we are coming to the back of the cathedral where the actual big tall dome is going to be sitting. So this is the sort of on the inside here, this is where the chapel is, well, a bunch of chapels in this circular area back here that we'll get onto the interior of in a few minutes. We gotta finish the exterior first, but in here we're gonna have the dome and a bunch of sort of mini domes kind of going around this area, which looks pretty cute. So we can see that getting all built up, and this is all gonna be flipped over with World Edit. So I'm only building a section of this, and then I get to use a little World Edit to make my life a little bit faster, a little bit easier here. So there we go, beautiful. It's all symmetrical, so it all lines up great, and that is fantastic. Here is one of the little domes that I'm going to get set up here. Actually, this one, this one isn't really much of a dome. This is more of just a little roof area. So right there you can see we got a nice little roof there. Pretty cute, pretty fancy. This right here is a dome. This is a section of a dome, at least. This is a half dome. Not the half dome in Yosemite. This is a half dome of a dome. So there we go. There's that. And now we are getting started on the actual big, large dome. Up in the center. And actually, while we are working on this dome here, I would like to give a quick shout out to one of my Discord server members, the member who actually won our build battle. That would be none other than Mr. Wonka, not Willy Wonka, just Wonka. And this was his build. The theme was a beta build, so a limited block palette of older blocks. So shout out to him. Good job for winning the build battle. We got a lot of build battles on Discord, so go ahead and join if you're interested in partaking in that. But while we were giving that little shout out, we were doing a little bit of trial and error. If you were paying attention here, this dome was a little pain to get right. The shape took me a few tries to get right. I did not get it right. I think it took me 3 or 4 tries to get a dome that I was happy with. So here we go. This is the final dome, I believe. I might tweak it a little bit more. I can't remember. But no, I don't think I do. That's more or less the final dome shape. And then we're going to get a little bit of detail on there. And then we're going to add a nice little gradient, or I guess texture, not gradient, on the roof there, because it's a sort of terracotta brick roof. And now for the final part of the exterior, we are on the outside here. This is a separate little structure here. This is the bell tower, which is completely separate from the cathedral. There's no, you can't get it. You have to leave the cathedral to walk over to the bell tower. So that's pretty interesting. It's a totally separate building, but it's part of this. It's part of the cathedral. Let's be real here. The same design style. It's right next to it. So I had to build it, obviously. And it looks pretty cool. It's one of the centerpieces. Other than the dome, I'd say this is one of the other big major centerpieces. You can see it's pretty tall, almost as tall as the dome itself, actually. And it is also just as intricate as the actual cathedral itself. So we have that beaut, and this is mainly the exterior all done. We're going to get a nice little layer of stone and pavement kind of texturing on the ground here. And then we're going to move to the interior of the cathedral. Okay, here's the inside here, like I just promised you guys. We're getting started with some basic support stuff and the roof design here. I will say that the interior of this cathedral is pretty simple. The walls aren't super intricate or detailed. The floor is pretty detailed and intricate, but the walls aren't. They're more or less just flat colors, which I'm not a super big fan of, because it makes me look like I'm a bad builder if I just leave the walls blank. But the walls are blank in real life, so there's nothing I can do. So I don't like the flat walls, but it is what it is. So nothing I can do about that. I did my best. Where there was detail, I did try my best. The roof of the dome itself is pretty detailed, so I was able to make that look all pretty and stuff, so we'll get to that in a second. But right here we have these little side areas where there are a bunch of chapels, little sort of mini rooms that we'll get more into there, but that was just getting everything all set up and stuff. And then we're coming up here to the dome, like I just mentioned, and then we're going to get it all colored up, and there's a bunch of people and a bunch of things going on this dome. The art, of course, I'm talking about. So I made a lot of people and stuff like that, and I gave them some nice clothes, and there you go, beautiful, quick little dome art there. Now we're coming down to the middle here of the floor, and we're gonna get a pretty beautiful little area here set up, and then we're gonna finish off this inside with a nice little detailing of the ground here, and then you can see the side little chapels there. I added some seating and stuff like that. But that is more or less everything that we have to finish this beautiful cathedral. You can see we're getting some cinematics in here, and this was an awesome build. I'm really happy with how this bad boy turned out. I hope you guys enjoy the cinematics. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video on my channel. And until then, guys, have a great day, and goodbye! Big shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. You guys are the best. And a big thank you to my $10 supporters, Chandler Hadley, Justin Kim, Voe, and Walker Army. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and goodbye.